It is Christmas Eve 2026. The world is quiet for a moment, suspended in the amber glow of streetlights and holiday decorations. But look closely at the faces of the people rushing past you. Look at the headlines scrolling on your screens. Beneath the carols and the festive cheer, there is a tension, a hollowness, a collective feeling that the story we have been told for 2,000 years, the story of a baby in a manger, of shepherds and kings, is beautiful, yes, but incomplete. We feel deep in our genetic memory that we have been given the children's version of a history that is far more complex, far more galactic, and far more urgent than anything taught in Sunday school. You are watching this because you feel it too. You feel that the figure known as Jesus of Nazareth, or Yeshua as he was truly called, was not just a religious icon. You suspect that he was a signal, a frequency, an intervention from a higher dimension designed to plant a seed that would not fully bloom until the year 2026. Today, we are doing something dangerous. We are peeling back the layers of dogma, censorship, and time itself. We are opening the forbidden archives of Dolores' canon. Through her pioneering work in quantum hypnosis, Dolores did not just speculate about the life of Jesus. She inadvertently time-raveled to it through the subconscious of a woman she called Katie. Dolores made contact with a man named Sudi, an Essene teacher living in Cuman precisely at the time of Jesus. The information that poured through in those sessions was so detailed, so radical, and so historically accurate long before the Internet or the Dead Sea Scrolls were fully understood that it shook the foundations of what we think we know. In this special broadcast, we are going to declassify the true story of the Essenes, the guardians of Atlantan technology. We will trace the lost years of Yeshua, his travels to Britain, India, and the Great Pyramid of Egypt, where he learned to master the laws of physics. We will reveal the extraterrestrial nature of the Star of Bethlehem. And most importantly, we will decode the prophecy of the Second Coming. Because according to the files, the Second Coming is not a man descending on a cloud to save us. It is a planetary frequency activation known as the Christ Grid, and it is scheduled to come online fully in the timeline of 2026. This is not a sermon. This is a briefing on the physics of the soul. To understand the seed, we must first understand the soil. Who were the Essenes? History books describe them as a small aesthetic Jewish sect living in the desert. But Dolores' sessions revealed they were far more than monks. They were the ground crew of their time. They were a secret society of scholars, astronomers, and healers who were holding the lineage of knowledge from a lost civilization. Sudi revealed to Dolores that the Essenes possessed records and crystals saved from the destruction of Atlantis. They understood the laws of energy. They understood the stars not as distant lights but as neighbors. They established their community at Cuman by the Dead Sea for a specific purpose. They were calculating the cycles of time. They knew through their astrological charts and ancient prophecies that a star child, a high-frequency volunteer from the source, was destined to incarnate. Their entire existence was dedicated to preparing the biological vessel and the environment for this being. They were genetic engineers of a spiritual kind, maintaining a bloodline of extreme purity for generations, ensuring that when the soul of Yeshua descended, the physical body could handle the voltage. This brings us to the first great revelation. The Star of Bethlehem was not a supernova. It was not a planetary alignment. In the sessions, it was described as a craft, a vehicle of light, a ship. It hovered over the location of the birth, beaming a column of protective high-frequency energy down to the site. This energy acted as a shield, creating a sterile, high-vibration field for the birth of a soul that had never touched the density of Earth before. Yeshua was a volunteer. In modern terms, we would call him a star seed of the highest order. He came from the level of sun, a consciousness so vast that to fit into a human body was like trying to put the ocean into a cup. The lost years of Jesus, the time between his childhood and his ministry at age 30, are blank pages in the Bible. The Church tells us nothing. But the subconscious records tell us everything. Yeshua did not sit idly in Nazareth for 18 years. He was a student of the world. He had to be to activate the codes within his DNA. He had to visit the power spots of the planetary grid. Dolores' work, corroborated by other mystic traditions, tracks his journey. He traveled first to the British Isles with his uncle Joseph of Erythea, a tin merchant. There among the Druids of Glastonbury, he studied the connection to nature and the ancient ley lines of the earth. He learned that the earth is a living mother, a concept the Essenes already knew, but the Druids had mastered. From there, he traveled east. He walked the Silk Roads to India and Tibet. He studied the Vedas. He lived with the masters of the East, learning the illusion of matter, Maya. He learned how to control the breath, how to slow the heart, how to detach the consciousness from the body. He learned that I am God is not blasphemy but the ultimate truth of the Atman, the soul within. He was bridging the gap between the Western mind and Eastern mysticism, weaving them into a unified understanding of oneness. But the final and most critical stage of his initiation took place in Egypt. He returned to the Nile, to the Giza Plateau. As we discussed in our previous briefing, the Great Pyramid is not a tomb. It is a machine of initiation. Yeshua spent days and nights inside the king's chamber lying in the sarcophagus. This was not for sleep. This was a process of atomic acceleration. The specific frequency of the pyramid, combined with the techniques he had learned, allowed him to fully integrate his Christ self into his physical vehicle. It was here that he mastered the manipulation of matter. It was here he learned how to heal with a touch, how to multiply matter, and how to control the elements. He was not performing miracles. He was practicing advanced physics. He was demonstrating what a human being is capable of when they are operating at 100% DNA capacity. When he returned to Judea, he was no longer just a man. He was a living portal. The Essenes, his protectors, watched him from a distance. They knew his mission was dangerous. They knew the density of the time, the Roman occupation, the religious rigidity would clash violently with the frequency he carried. And they knew how it would end. Sudi, the Essen librarian, spoke of this with great sadness, but also understanding. It was a setup, a cosmic drama played out to leave a lasting imprint on the human psyche. The crucifixion, viewed through the lens of Dolores Cannon's work, takes on a completely different meaning. It was not a blood sacrifice to appease an angry God. That is a distortion added later. It was a demonstration of the ultimate mastery over death. Yeshua allowed the process to happen. He did not suffer in the way we imagine. Using the techniques he learned in India and Egypt, he was able to withdraw his consciousness from his nervous system. He observed the pain but did not become it. The resurrection was the final proof. He dissolved his physical body into pure energy, a light body, and then reconstructed it. This was the message he was trying to leave us. You are not your body. You are eternal. Death is an illusion. He showed us the blueprint of our own future evolution. He showed us what the new human looks like. But then the message was hijacked. The teachings were edited, diluted, and turned into a system of control. The knowledge of reincarnation was removed. The power of the feminine was suppressed. The Christ consciousness was externalized into a single man to be worshipped rather than an internal state to be achieved. Humanity fell back into a long dark sleep. Until now. We are standing at the precipice of 2026. And the reason this story matters right now is because the cycle has come full circle. Dolores Cannon was very clear. Yeshua promised he would return. But he said, I will not come back as one man. I will come back as many. This is the secret of the second coming. It is not the return of the man Jesus. It is the return of the Christ consciousness frequency. And this time it is not landing in one body in Israel. It is landing in millions of bodies all over the planet simultaneously. This is the Christ grid. Visualize the Earth. Surrounding the planet there is a geometric web of energy. For thousands of years, this grid has been dormant, dim, operating on the low frequencies of survival and fear. But since the harmonic convergence of 1987 and accelerating through 2012, this grid has been receiving upgrades. It has been bombarded with high-frequency cosmic rays, the solar flash energy we spoke of. Now, as we approach 2026, the grid is coming online. It is turning gold. And every human being on the planet acts as a receiver for this grid. But here is the catch. You have to tune your receiver. The 3 waves of volunteers that Dolores identified, you, the starseeds, the lightworkers, you are the ground crew for this activation. You are the Essenes of the 21st century. You came here with a specific contract to wake up, to clear your own karma, and to hold enough light in your body to anchor this Christ grid into the physical earth. You are the second coming. Does this sound blasphemous, or does it sound like a bell of truth ringing in your DNA? Look at the signs we discussed in our last video. the body aches, the emotional purging, the ringing in the ears. These are not just random symptoms. These are the side effects of your body trying to integrate the Christ frequency. Your carbon-based biology is struggling to hold a crystalline vibration. You are walking the same path of initiation that Yeshua walked, but you are doing it while working a 9-to-5 job, raising families, and navigating a chaotic world. That makes you the master. The year 2026 marks a critical threshold in this process. The astrological alignments and the energetic cycles suggest that the Christ grid will reach a critical mass, a tipping point. The separation of worlds will become distinct. Those who are tuned into the frequency of love, forgiveness, and unity will begin to experience a reality that operates on different laws. Miracles, synchronicities, instant manifestations, spontaneous healings will become commonplace for this group. Not because they are special, but because they are operating on the new operating system. Those who remain tuned to the frequency of fear, judgment, and separation will continue to experience the crumbling of the old earth. They will see chaos. They will see the end times. They will look for a savior to come down from the sky, missing the fact that the savior is trying to wake up inside their own chest. This brings us to the true meaning of Christmas in 2026. It is not about celebrating a birthday from the past. It is about celebrating a birth in the present. The birth of you, the birth of your higher self into your physical vessel. The Essenes knew this time would come. They hid their scrolls in caves, knowing they would be found exactly when humanity needed them again, in the 19th century, just as we were entering the atomic age and risking self-destruction. The discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls was a time capsule trigger. It was the first phase of the revelation. The work of Dolores was the second phase. And now the lived experience of millions of you is the third phase. So how do we navigate this? How do we ensure we are part of the second coming wave in 2026? We look at what Yeshua actually taught before the edits. He taught two primary laws, love and forgiveness. Forgiveness is not a moral unicity. It is quantum mechanics. When you hold a grudge, when you judge another, you create a dense energetic cord that ties you to the 3D timeline. You anchor yourself in the past. To forgive is to cut the cord. It is to release the density so you can rise. It is the only way to pass through the eye of the needle. Love is not an emotion. It is a frequency. It is the glue that holds the universe together. To love your neighbor as yourself is the recognition that there is no neighbor. There is only you in another form. It is the realization of unity consciousness. This is the 5D state. As we move into the silent nights of this holiday season, I invite you to try an experiment. Forget the shopping lists. Forget the obligations. Take a moment to go into the silence just as Yeshua did in the desert, just as he did in the king's chamber. Close your eyes. Visualize a golden light in the center of your chest. This is your high heart, the seat of the Christ consciousness. See this light expanding. See it filling your body, pushing out all the stress, all the fear, all the I'm not good enough programming. Now imagine that light connecting to a grid of golden light that surrounds the earth. See millions of other points of light lighting up on that grid. Your brothers and sisters, the other volunteers, the ground crew. Feel the pulse of that connection. You are not alone. You are part of a massive coordinated cosmic operation. Ask yourself, what would the Christ consciousness do in my life today? How would it treat the annoying relative at dinner? How would it react to the scary news headline? How would it treat the reflection in the mirror? Every time you choose love over fear, every time you choose peace over conflict, you are activating the grid. You are bringing the second coming into reality. You are the hands and feet of the shift. The forbidden tapes of Dolores are not just history. They are a mirror. Sudi the Essene spoke across 2,000 years to remind us of who we are. He said that in his time they were preparing for one master, but in our time we are preparing to become a planet of masters. The training wheels are off. The guru is not coming to save you. The guru is in the mirror. The manger is your heart and the star is your own pineal gland lighting up with the codes of remembrance. 2026 is the year the training ends and the mission begins. The earth is splitting, yes, but it is splitting like a cell divides to create new life. Do not mourn the old shell. Celebrate the new form. If this message resonates with you, If you feel that hum of recognition in your bones, then you are part of this lineage. You have the Essene codes in your blood. You have the Christos frequency in your soul. We are going to anchor this frequency right now. We are going to send a signal to the grid that we are online. Go to the comments below. Do not just type a word. Cast a spell of truth. Write, I am the chalice. I am the light. Let this be your declaration that you are ready to hold the frequency. The chalice is not a cup. It is the human body prepared to receive the divine spirit. Be the chalice and share this video. Not to convince the skeptics, but to find the others. There are millions who are feeling this shift but don't have the words for it. They think they are alone. Be the one who turns on the light for them. The archives are open. The timeline is set. The return is happening through you. Merry Christmas, ground crew, and welcome to the Christ Grid.